Hey there, it's Adrian over at the Sampleist, and today we're taking a look at an organ sample library from Streamtech Music. This is a gorgeously captured organ from the historic Saint-Jean-de-Malte church in Aix-en-Provence in France. The original organ in this church was replaced in 2006 by Daniel Kern, but sadly that company no longer exists. The organ that we've got here today is very much in a Baroque style and comes with a total of 28 registrations and 25 presets to get you going, all designed for modern film scoring. It has 5 distinct microphone positions for a very captivating sound. You will need a Contact 7 or above, and this library will work with the free player. It is recommended that you run the library from an SSD and have at least 8GB of RAM. Taking up 7.9GB of disk space, it is currently on introductory pricing at the time of this recording of €39, with the full price being €59. So let's take a listen to what this library has to offer. So that's what it sounds like. Absolutely stunning it is. As a fellow organist, I can truly appreciate the sound of this organ. It's magnificent. So I was going to have a quick look through the interface here. It's quite simple, nice and easy to follow, and nicely laid out. On the left here we have your mod wheel, and this controls the cutoff filter. So what it does, it'll dull the frequencies, the higher end of the sound. So if I just quickly play something as it's fully open. Now if I close this mod wheel, it cuts the cutoff down. Basically, it puts the whole set of pipes under expression as though it's being enclosed behind wooden slats shutters. It's quite nice. I used to play an organ like that, where you could actually close everything and put everything under sort of expression there. What we then have is the current articulation display. There's only one articulation in this library, that's sustain. On the left here we have the mic. On the left, it's the right. On the microphones, we have the ability to pan each one for a very wide sound. So that's what these knobs do. They allow you to pan them left and right for a really wide sound. and then underneath we have the microphone level faders. We then can select which microphones we actually want on. Spot 1 is a position that features a Neumann KM184 stereo pair, and that offers the most direct and detailed sound of the organ. On the second one we have another spot mic, and this one is an omnidirectional AT4022 microphone, so it's a pair, that's a stereo pair that's been recorded there, and that provides a more reverberant sound. So if I just put them on and take spot 1 off, you can hear a nice reverb tail. So if I take that off and put this one on, ever so subtly different, but if you combine the two you get a nice wide big sound. Really nice. The main one is the position of a stereo pair of Shure Mic Mark IV microphones, and that balances the direct sound and natural reverb, and that creates your cinematic experience. Because if I turn these off, it's quite a dryish sound. So if I put these on, you get the cinematic feel. And you've got the outriggers, which is a Shure Mic Mark IIS omnidirectional microphone, and this creates a nice lush sort of I'll play it and you'll see what I mean. Now if I turn these off, all very subtly different. And we've got the surround one here, which is a pair of two AT4022 omnidirectional microphones, and this adds some natural reverb, adding a sense of authenticity and fullness to the sound. So you see, just take those off. That's a drier sound there. So that's a nice way of sort of making your own sort of soundstage, really, in a way. And you can obviously change your positions of your microphones with the volume levels here in the pan. So that's really nice. I'll come to the main section in a minute. What we have here, we have an advanced page, and this allows you to mess around with the release tails. So it sort of like controls the natural reverb sound following the notes. 100% the reverb sound will play at the same level during the recordings. But if you turn it down, there's not going to be no release tail. So what happens here when I do this, you get at this moment it sounds like this. Get a little bit of reverb sound there. So if I turn this down, really, really dry sound. It's as though you're in a sort of like a carpeted room or something. And anybody who puts carpet in a church with an organ, they do need to be shot, to be honest, but that's another story altogether. We have a reverb control here, and this gives you some artificial reverb. So if I put this on, so it makes the sound bigger. Without the reverb on, what you actually hear is actually the natural reverb of the church it was actually captured in. And enable layering. Now this is a nice little button, because when you engage this, it allows you to select the multiple stops from within each single division, which we'll come to in a minute. It basically means that if I take enable layering off and I press this, it only allows me to select one from each section. But if I enable layering, I can actually then select my own settings, really. We have this Niente when mod wheel down. Now that is, if turned on, the mod will mute the sound completely when set at its lowest value. So that went on the other page, we saw how the mod wheel changed the cutoff. Now if I play like that and I turn my mod wheel down, the notes will stop. You then have a high quality mode, which provides a higher sound quality, as it says on the tin there, but it does increase your CPU usage significantly. We then can change the note range. What's programmed here is the natural note ranges for an actual pipe organ, but you can change the note range if you so wish. You have performance. You can change your latency of the sound, and you can also change the division levels here. So we can have change the grand orgue and the positive and the pedal out to different volumes if you so wish. Now, when we mean by grand orgue and the positive, these are two separate keyboards on the organ, and then you got your pedal board as well underneath, so you can actually mix and change how loud each one is. Now, at the bottom we have the actual heart of the library, which is the sounds themselves. So if I just turn this one off, you can actually turn the keyboards and the pedals off by just clicking the little radio buttons there. And as you can see, you've got some key switches down here, so you can actually turn them on and off by just key switches if you so wish. We'll just focus on the pedal section first of all. Now, the pedal section, I think, is a 32 note board, so that means only the first part of the keyboard will actually ever play. And you've got a sub bass there, which is real sub bass sound. So if I put this one on, the top one, so it stops at the F. You can't go any higher than the F. So you've got the range of C to an F. So that's the usual range of a pedal board there. And then we can go into positive when you've got all these settings. Now, this is what I said in the advanced. If you want to select just particular settings, make sure enable layering is on. And if you go back to, if I just go back to main, and then you can select your own sound if you so wish. So a flute, need to engage it first. And if I just want a grand organ sound, I'll just have the mantra, which is quite a nice sound, and you like got a nice little wind chiff at the beginning, which is very nicely captured. Now you can blend the keyboards together if you so wish. So if I want the grand organ and the positive together. Now the rule of thumb normally is if you've got an 8-foot selected and you want a 4-foot, you should always have an 8-foot bass sort of foundation. And I always tend to create sounds like a pyramid. So 2 8-foots and a 4-foot. As if I have 3 8-foots, then I can have 2 4-foots. We then can also, if I press the I button underneath and select Petit Jeu, click the I. So you select your stop and click the I button. It actually tells you what stops are in that particular setting. So in the Petit Jeu, we have an 8-foot board on, an 8-foot crom horn, a 4-foot flute, a 4-foot prestant, a 2 2/3 Nazard, and a terce 1 3/5. Now these two are mutation stops at the end. I would have liked to have actually seen those as separate settings, but you know, it doesn't detract from the library one bit. It's really nice. So what we have, we can say bring a grandeur up there, and you can see straight away that the grandeur setting is trumpet, 8-foot, 4-foot prestant, and cornet de virang. So that's a little whistle stop tour of the interface. So let's hear what this sounds like in a musical context. Okay, just a little sketch there of a little organ piece, just showing what this library can actually do. What we have here is the Whispered Echo preset, and underneath we end up with some little pedals that I've put together, which is the Sue bass 16 foot and the flute 8 foot. Now the opening is a sort of classic nod to, well, there's no need to explain who was the nod is to. And that's the in 3/4 time, and then we go on to the little melody with the bass underneath. And then we go all symphonic with the Majestic Organ Symphony. We then take it down a notch with the French Overture. And this then moves into 6/8 time there, and we put a Sue bass 16 foot and flute 8 foot underneath again. And then we finish with the Majestic Organ again, and this time I bring in some dark ambient lows. I'll just play the dark ambient lows first of all. These are real growly pedals. So you just get an idea what settings are actually used in that one. And then the Majestic Organ Symphony together with the dark ambient lows gives us this. So a little reprise of what we had earlier. And that is it, just simply a little sketch just to show what this organ library actually sounds like when put into a musical context. Okay, as a fellow organist, hands up, I am absolutely sucker for a great organ library, and this is absolutely fantastic and right up my street. I absolutely love this library. The nuance of each pipe has been captured beautifully, even the little chiff sound as the wind enters the pipes, as can be heard on the Mantra 8 foot that we listened to earlier. It's so quick to design your own sound with easy access to each stop in a very neatly laid out interface. If you've got two keyboards, now this is an idea that came through to me afterwards, that if you have two keyboards to hand, it's dead easy to have the Grand Orgue and the Positive keyboards mapped individually onto separate channels for a true organ experience. However, in the context of film scoring, the layout is absolutely perfect to go from those light, subtle moments to really all-out brash and loud symphonic settings. Absolutely nothing beats the power of an organ with all the stops out. It's just the absolute thrill and vibe of hearing the ground shaking as you play. As I said earlier, personally it would have been nice to see some of those stops as solo options, you know, the mutation stops we talked about. For example, when I play, I sometimes like to have an 8 foot stop with a 2 2/3 Nazard for a solo, or just an 8 foot and a 2 foot flute. But it's a minor thing that it doesn't detract from the library whatsoever. This has been magnificently captured. I do like how the stop list appears at the bottom of the interface, so you can actually see when you select a preset what stops it provides. And if you are looking for that symphonic sound and need an organ, let's face it, who doesn't need an organ in the music? Then this library should be on your shopping list. It really should be right at the very top of your shopping list. I've heard other libraries that cost a lot more than this one that sound nowhere near as good as this. We would like to thank Streamtech Music for sending across Millennium French Organ for us to review. It is really much appreciated, and you dear viewers, I hope you enjoy this little journey. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel and visit the Sampleist to see what we're all about.